Trump's plan to change the regime in Iran and make it pro-American has completely failed. If the US succeeded in changing regime in Iran and Iran would have turned into a pro-American country, the US dollar will continue to be the global reserve currency for another 50 years because that would have revived the petrodollar. Unfortunately, that has failed. Iran is the key ally of China, and Iran supplies China with cheap energy, especially since Iran is under the US sanctions. So Iran has no other option but to supply that energy to China at a huge discount. Unfortunately, that is not working in the favor of the United States, which is why the United States has to change the entire dynamic of the region and force China to become more dependent on the United States of America. Because China is a problem. First of all, China controls the rare earth minerals, and that means that the United States without China won't be able to build advanced semiconductors. It won't be able to build smartphones, weapons, EVs, you name it, because the entire industry is at the mercy of China. Secondly, China simply has a much larger population than the United States. The way we measure the economy today is through GDP. So the more money circulates in the economy, the bigger is going to be the GDP. So the higher is your population, the bigger is going to be your GDP. The population of China is 1.5 billion people, while the population of the United States is 350 million people. So mathematically, the United States will never be able to build as a large economy such as China. Of course, the US can grow its population, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. The only way to do that is through immigration. And the United States right now is anti-immigrants, which is why the United States has to cause a recession in China to slow down its economy. If you look at the Chinese economy versus the US economy when it comes to purchasing power parity, China has already overtaken the United States as the world's largest economy. And the more countries are trading with China, the more they will rely on China and the more they will listen to China instead of the United States. If your largest trading partner is China, then you're more likely to build rules with China than the United States. So over time, the world is going to turn into a Chinese-based international order instead of the US international order. And that's something the United States does not like. Because what makes the US economy such a powerful economy is that the United States is at the top. The US dollar is the global reserve currency that allows the United States to borrow more money than any other nation, and that keeps the United States at the top regardless. That's why the internet was invented in the United States. AI is advancing in the United States more than any other nation. And China did not have a single recession in the modern history. Since China has opened its borders, they did not have a single recession. Every single year, the Chinese GDP is growing 6%, 7%. And even now, when the global economy is slowing down, the Chinese GDP is growing by 5%. So over time, it's a matter of time before China will overtake the United States. The United States had multiple recessions after the dot-com bubble, after the 2008 financial crisis. Even now, the US economy is on the brink of a recession. But the Chinese economy did not slow down. Yes, COVID slowed down the Chinese economy, but even COVID did not cause any kind of a recession in China like it's supposed to. And the war in Ukraine over the last 4 years helped China enormously because the Western world was forced to sanction Russia. So Russia didn't have any other option but to sell its oil and gas to China at a huge discount. So China was getting all of that energy at a huge discount, which boosted its economic growth. So if we can actually cause a single recession in China, then the United States is going to win. Because who knows how long it will take China to get out of that recession. It is the US economy that easily manages a recession, and even if there is a recession, the United States can always borrow money and boost the economy. But China does not have that option. Remember when the US overvalued the Japanese currency, and the Japanese economy since 1990s is still in a recession or even a depression. There is a deflation. The Japanese GDP today is significantly smaller than it was back in 1985. So if we can cause something like that in China, that will be really great. Even if you look at the GDP in the US dollars, you can see that it's a matter of time. In the next 10 to 20 years, China will be a much larger economy on the global stage than the United States. And when you have a much larger economy, you have much bigger influence over other nations. Suddenly, the European Union will find out that they trade more with China than the United States. The same thing with the UK and the rest of the world. And suddenly, they will no longer be listening to the United States. They will be making good deals with China because economically, it is in their interest to have much better relationship with China than the United States. And when you have a larger economy, you can maintain a larger military. So you are going to have a much powerful military. And the military power at the end of the day decides the global rules. The reason the dollar is the global reserve currency is because the US military is everywhere. The US Navy controls the checkpoints all across the globe. So if you don't have a proper good relationships with the United States, you will be prevented from global trade. And if you can't do global trade, then your economy is going to stagnate. And all China needs is to control Southeast Asia and the Middle East. China doesn't actually have to build a huge military that will surround the United States. That's not the goal. As long as China builds its navy to a certain point where it can control Southeast Asia and it controls the Middle East where the global energy flows, suddenly this part of the world is entirely controlled by China. And that will challenge the United States. It's much more difficult for the US because the US is on the other part of the world, where China is on this part of the world. So China has a huge advantage in this part of the world over the United States, simply because geographically it is located in this part of the world. So the United States needs to buy more time. The US knows that it's a matter of time before the United States is no longer going to be the most powerful country in the world. That's basically how the world works. An empire rises, then an empire falls. So the US needs to buy as much time as possible before China will challenge it. The US overtook the UK as the largest economy around 1900s, but only became the global reserve currency in 1944. Before even World War II, the United States was already a much larger economy, and countries began trading with the US more than they did with the UK. But the world trusted the UK because the UK had a long history when it comes to the financial markets. So if you want to borrow money, if you want to preserve your wealth, you would always go to the UK, not the United States. But when the world realized that the UK owes a lot of money to the United States, then these nations also started borrowing money from the United States and not the UK. And the exact same thing is happening. China is not borrowing money from the United States. It is the United States that is borrowing money from China. And the more the US owes to China, the more or a stronger signal it sends to the rest of the world that China is the place where you borrow money, not the United States of America. And the more the Chinese economy grows, the more the US has to rely on debt to stay at the top. Now the United States is borrowing trillions of dollars to maintain its economy. The US has to borrow over $1 trillion to maintain the large military. Well, China doesn't have to do that. All the debt that China is borrowing is mostly internal debt. This is not the debt that China owes to the rest of the world. And that's the difference. When you owe to the rest of the world, you are at the mercy of the rest of the world. But when you owe money to yourself, that's not actually a big deal. It's just like the United States owing money to the Federal Reserve. Yes, it causes internal inflation, but that is not going to lead the United States to a default. But China has a weak point, and this weak point is now being exploited by the United States, and that's oil and gas. China imports 70% of its oil from the rest of the world: Russia, Middle East, Iran, or even the United States. And when you are the global factory of the world, you need as much oil as possible. So if the United States can make China dependent on the United States for oil, that's when the US will have a huge leverage over China. That's when the United States is going to dictate the rules on China. That's when the US can tell to China that no more restrictions over rare earth minerals. You have to open your entire market to American companies, so there is going to be fair competition. And that's how the rules are going to be from now onwards. So how are we going to do that? So here's the plan. First of all, we need to control the Middle Eastern oil. China was trying to build an infrastructure to move the Middle Eastern oil away from the United States. So they build a payment system, they build the supply routes, they literally build absolutely everything. But now with this war that the United States has started against Iran, the United States put a blockade on Iran. What that means? That means that not a single ship is going to cross the Strait of Hormuz, not only due to the permission of Iran, but also after the permission of the United States. But as long as the US keeps the blockade, Iran will keep the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So all that oil that's supposed to be sold to China is no longer flowing out of the Middle East. Yes, Saudi Arabia became a close ally of China, but so what? That oil cannot possibly hit China. So now China is not importing that oil. The oil from Kuwait, the oil from Iraq, the oil from the UAE, and so on and so forth. So the United States simply has to keep that blockade. On one side, it is choking China. On the other side, it is pressuring Iran. So the longer that blockade stays there, the more Iran is likely to make a good deal with the United States. At the same time, all these Middle Eastern countries, their economies are collapsing and they're becoming even more desperate, so they're willing to sign any deal that is more favorable for the United States. So they can easily say the US, if you remove the blockade, we are ready to completely get rid of the Chinese infrastructure and we will only deal with China based on the rules that the United States is going to. Secondly, we have to lift the sanctions out of the Russian oil so that Russian oil will start moving to Europe. So since 2022, all that Russian oil has been sanctioned by the US. So it was being sold at a huge discount to China. But the European economies have been going through a recession since 2022. But now Europe has weakened dramatically and Europe is no longer dependent on Russia. So if we can actually put an end to the Russo-Ukrainian war by the end of this year or throughout this year and suddenly lift the sanctions out of Russia, Russia will most likely be selling its oil to Europe and not China. Why? Some people will say, that's not going to happen because Russia and China are great allies. There are no such thing as great allies. For Russia, it is much more profitable to sell that oil to Europe than China. First of all, Europe pays a much higher price. Secondly, Russia has spent the last 50 to 60 years building the infrastructure to sell that oil to Europe. So they have the pipelines ready. So basically, it is much more cost effective to sell it to Europe than China, which is why all that oil and gas will start moving to European countries instead of China. Suddenly, if you're China, you're in deep crisis. You're no longer getting your oil and gas from Russia. You're no longer getting your oil and gas from the Middle East. And without this oil and gas, your factories will stop running. And if that happens, your economy is going to fall into a recession. Do you see how the United States is trying to choke China from every single aspect? And you can't even blame the United States because the United States is claiming that we have started this war against Iran because there are nuclear weapons. On the other side, you can't blame the United States for stopping the war in Russia and Ukraine because that is the most noble thing to do. So the US is literally saving the world and at the same time choking China to the end. That leaves China with no other option but to start buying energy from the United States. Because the United States isn't actually building pipelines from the US to the European Union, but rather all that oil is getting shipped on huge tankers from the US to the European countries right now or to Japan. So these tankers can simply and easily start coming to China, and China will be overpaying for energy. First of all, China will be paying a much higher price for energy, which means that its economy is going to slow down. Secondly, and most importantly, China will start relying on the United States for its most important resource, which is oil. And the United States can deny China that resource at any point they want. Again, China no longer can buy oil and gas from the Middle East because there is a blockade in the Middle East. And if that blockade in the Middle East, let's say, stays there for another 6 months or a year, suddenly Iran might become a pro-American country, or Iran might sign a deal that is favorable to the United States. And meanwhile, while blockade is there, Middle Eastern countries are going to become much more pro-American because they will become extremely desperate. And that's how the United States is trying to control the global energy supply. That's the first thing. Secondly, it is trying to control and contain China. And thirdly, by controlling the global energy, the US dollar will remain the global reserve currency for another 30 to 50 years. But that also could mean that the situation against Iran could easily escalate, and that might actually cause a huge crisis in the market, just like it did in March of this year. But as always, when the market dips, it becomes a really great opportunity to start buying these stocks. So if you, for example, has invested in the stock market in March of this year, your portfolio would have grown by 15 to 20%. If you invested when Donald Trump started the tariff war against the rest of the world, you would have doubled your money since then. But most people did not do that. But rich people are actively investing. So if you want to know what are the best stocks to buy when the market is going to crash, if you want a personalized investing strategy that is tailored specifically to you, you can book a one-on-one call with my team that will help you to come up with that investing strategy. And the first 100 people who are going to use the link in the description of this video will get that strategy session completely for free. The link is in the description of this video.